So let's now deal with the redirection of a user to our not found component if we end up in this situation, because we don't want to be constantly loading our activity, because this will fool the user into thinking that something is going on, when in reality all we've done here is not turned off our loading indicator. So we've got a few problems to solve here. First of all, we need to redirect our user to the not found component. And also we're displaying this loading activity even though our action has finished and we've returned the error. And if we go and take a look in this particular example at our activity details page, and we take a look at what we're doing inside here, well, we're loading the activity, which loads our activity from the API and stores it inside this activity observable. But if we don't have an activity, and we don't get back an activity, then this is always going to be true, and that's why we're seeing our loading component always being displayed. So this is not particularly good. So I'm just going to turn off that and say if there is no activity, then what we'll do is we'll just return, for now, just an H2 saying activity not found. But we also don't really want to display that. We want to redirect our user to the not found component, but this should turn off our loading indicator and then we see activity not found. But we want to use our not found component to do this. So let's head back over to our agent.ts file. And if we want to redirect our user, how do we go about doing that? Well, at the moment, we don't have any access to our routing functionality inside our Axios agent file. So what we'll do, and we'll just concentrate on the 404 error for now. We'll deal with the other types of errors very shortly. And what we want to do is we want to check the status code that we're getting here. So I'm going to say if error response.status is equal to 404, then what I'm going to do is just throw the error.response. And if we throw an error, then something needs to catch it. And in this case, what's going to catch it initially is going to be our activity store, because that's what's calling our load activity method inside our agent file. So let's go to our activity store, and we want to take a look for the load activity method. And we are actually catching the error, but all we're doing is logging out to the console. And if we take a look at our console in the API, and I'll just repeat this request, our error object is now coming from our activity store rather than the agent.ts file. But this still isn't enough, because we also don't have access to our router functionality inside our activity store. So what we're also going to need to do here is throw the error again, so it can be caught by our activity details page, which does have access to our routing functionality. So rather than console logging the error, let's just throw the error again. And what we can do then is catch this particular error in our activity details page. And inside our activity details page, after the load activity, I can catch the error in here. And then what I can do is make use of our root properties that are available inside here. And we're already passing in our root component props inside here. So we can also just add the history object to our destructured props. And then inside the catch callback, what we'll do is we'll say history.push, and we'll just send them to our not found component. And this doesn't have to be called not found, it could be called literally anything, and it would take us to our not found components, but I'm just going to call it not found. And this is what will be displayed in the URL as well. So if we go ahead and repeat the test that we're doing, and we've got our React hook is missing the history dependency, so let's just clear this up as well and add history as a dependency. And like I say, it's really easy to forget to add dependencies, but it really doesn't matter because React is very good at telling us what we're missing. So I'm just going to go back to the activities, and I'm going to click on one of my activities, and once again just change the GUID that we're using as the ID, and then just press return. And now we're redirected back to our not found page. Okay, so that's fine, but do we really want to follow that procedure for every possible not found that we get? Because a much better place to do this would be to redirect the user inside our interceptor so that we don't have to continuously throw the errors up to our store, which is always going to be in the middle of our components and our API. Or is there a better way? And of course, there's always a better way. So what we'll take a look at next is how we can utilize our routing functionality inside our Axios interceptor so that we can redirect any 404s. We'll redirect them to our not found component inside here. And we'll take a look at that next.